Hello, I'm Rick.
And I'm One Doomed Game Critic, and today we are looking at Final Fantasy 1. Kind of going off topic and looking at other things too, but hey, that's how these things go.
So, how is the ports? I actually didn't look into the situation of the ports, other than I know that all of them are different past the PS1 version that you played.
Now, I didn't play the NES version. That's probably the biggest oversight on my part.
You've never played it ever?
No,
Okay.
I've only ever played the PS1 port and the PSP port, which I finished, because the PSP port is significantly
It's
better. We'll
actually
get to that
playable.
later. It's actually kind of fun, but
Now,
the PS1 port is misery.
Yeah, because I played the NES version back in 2012 for a good weekend, and that's it. And it was something. Did the PS1 version let you attack enemies? Did you auto target the next enemy if something died?
Yes, that is one change I am aware of. In the original NES FF, if you attacked an enemy with a second party member after, say, the first one kills it, too bad.
Nothing happens. It's really fucking annoying.
So it's okay, fair enough, but NES FF kind of offsets this with how low enemy health is. To my knowledge, Chaos... Oh, fuck, a police are in the background, shit.
Oh, cool.
But I live in the favela of Vancouver. What do you want? But to my knowledge, Chaos in the NES version has 2,000 health, something like that.
Yeah, and then in the version we played, the PSP port, he's got 20,000 or something.
Yeah, and even the PS... Here's the thing. The PS1 version, he has 20,000 too.
Oh, okay. That's odd.
So, the worst thing I've noticed about the PS1 version, why, at least in my opinion, I have not played the NES version, please correct me if I'm wrong, that's the worst version of FF1 to play, because it has all the downsides of... Well, most of the downsides in the NES version, a low attack rate, where you're missing every other attack you're going to miss. Where you have the D&D spell system, where it's an ammo-based thing, where it's okay, you have level 2 spells. You can use 5 of those.
Yeah, you've got limited use of your leveled spells, yeah.
Yeah, and there's no way to replenish that in the middle of a dungeon, to my knowledge, because I only played up to the vampire. I beat the vampire, and I said, I'm done. I don't want to fight the Lich.
Yeah, because there isn't a way to recover that in dungeons. I think you have to use sleeping
you have to go
bags
around
or something.
Yeah, sleeping bags don't even work, to my recollection. I'd have to double check the footage.
Oh, shit. Well, I mean...
It is straight up sleep in an inn.
I think it's just they have cottages, or they only have tents or something. Because I know there's some kind of field restorative item. At least that's how I remember it back then.
No, true that. But even then, at the very least, in the NES version, there was that, but every enemy had a much lower health pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
At the very least.
And then
on the PS1, they have the inflated health bars, but you have the limited attack potential for the mages, attack and healing, which is easily the best abilities.
Yeah. Because you can't wipe them out with a fire spell, because you gotta use that for the dungeon. You can't just use it on the overworld.
No, you're gonna waste it. That's ammo, and you're not gonna get that back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's the worst versions of both versions of the game mixed together, and I don't. Everyone who has ever said PS1 Final Fantasy Origins the best way to play FF1, go to hell. You're wrong. It is so irritating.
I can understand it if they want you to play it with the original feel of that annoying ammo system, but who wants to play the game like that? I mean, seriously.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem worth
so
it.
I respect FF1 for I respect the game for trying to bring the D&D experience to home consoles at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool idea. It's just the MP system, which I don't know which FF introduced that. We're obviously gonna find out as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was 3. I think it's 3 or 4.
I'm thinking 3 or 4, yeah.
One of them introduced that system. It's a way better system.
It just works so much
the
better.
idea of Exactly, it's so convenient. Where it's like even the really hardcore RPGs, like you're playing SMT3, even that has some variant of MP.
Yeah.
It's more convenient as a system and a way to actually have like an actual currency which makes sense and can be replenished on the spot.
Yeah. It's so you can use your spells, but you don't like feel punished if you use too much. Like the MP restorative items are really expensive, but you can have them if you really need it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you can save your MP for when you actually need it, but there is a way to restore it outside of just exiting all progress and having to essentially restart. Because this game's encounter rate is definitely one of the weirdest aspects. The PSP version isn't as bad, but it still is kind of higher than I was expecting.
Yeah, and the dungeons are like labyrinths. You saw me wandering around that water dungeon. Like, I was fucking lost
The
for
water
3
dungeon
hours.
can get fucked. The water dungeon is insane. Like, okay, fire dungeon, fine.
Yeah, the fire dungeon's fine.
Even like a
Earth dungeon's fine.
Chaos's dungeon, it's fine. Even the vampire cave, it's like, okay, it's not great, but it's fine.
Yeah, you're not wandering in circles for like 2 hours fighting, what was it, fishmen. Like, come on now.
Yeah, you fight the fishmen, you fight, I know like it ends with the Kraken, which admittedly that's kind of cool.
Yeah. That was another point I wanted to bring up. The sprite work is really good on the PSP version.
Oh, the PSP version is gorgeous.
Very nice looking sprite work. The animations, however, don't really. I mean, the magic attacks look like something that I made in RPG Maker when I was 10. But you know, it works. That's all that matters, right?
You have to assume that they were just working on a really low budget with this one.
Yeah, like this was like a B team trying to hone their skills or something while they were working on another project.
Like, oh, a minute. When did this version come out? That's what I want to know.
Here, let me look it up. Well, here's the wiki that says it came out in 2007.
2007. Okay.
It doesn't tell me
now,
an
if I
actual
remember.
date.
Okay, so if I remember correct. Okay, you know what else came out in 2007?
What was that?
A game we're gonna have to get to, Crisis Core.
Oh boy, isn't that a Final Fantasy VII sequel or something?
Yeah, that's the prequel to FF7. So you can bet your ass that's what's gonna get the development resources.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Actually, for the sake of it, do you think we should straight up just do the spin-offs now that we're just talking about it and recording? Should we commit?
I was going to commit to the spin-offs after we were done with the numbered titles, but I was going to include, like, I know Final Fantasy IV has the after years or whatever.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was gonna continue that one. Like,
all right,
after
well,
I
if
did
you want to
that.
commit to like spin-offs and shit, like where you get to say you get to FF7, and it's like, okay, let's just knock them all out in one go.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Like, I'll tell you right now, I have played a lot of the FF7 spin-offs because 7's my big favorite. They ain't shit. They are not shit.
I didn't expect them to be like anything special.
Like, the only thing remotely special is the remake, and we'll get to why that is later.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to play the FF7 remake because I don't have a PS4.
Well, I guarantee that's gonna be a PC port by the time we actually
get to it. Okay.
It'll have a PC port. Like, this is gonna take a long time to actually
Yeah.
get to fucking 7 remake if we do it in order.
It's been what, 3 weeks since it's been 3 weeks since I finished Final Fantasy 1. So yeah, it's gonna take a minute.
Well, school is gonna close for the semester for me at least,
Yeah.
so it's like, I just gotta work and shit. So at the very least, like 2 is gonna be smoother sailing.
And plus, the games are just gonna keep getting longer and longer. So there's gonna be more to play and more to talk about.
They're also gonna get easier though.
Oh, really?
So the chats are gonna get longer. Oh, we'll get to it later. But FF after like 6 is like none of them are hard.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Like, even 6 is just kind of a cakewalk after a certain bit.
Okay.
We'll get to it though. We'll get to it. We're like talking in the future. Let's talk FF1 today.
Yeah.
We should probably
The
state specifics.
specifics. Okay, yeah. I did like that the story just starts immediately. Like, it's real bare bones, but you're thrust into the game like as soon as it starts. There's a short like 2-minute cutscene and then you're just there.
That definitely is one of the most refreshing things about revisiting Final Fantasy 1 is that there's no nonsense in it. Like, Final Fantasy kind of has a reputation for being a very cinematic franchise now, but if nothing else, it's really interesting to see FF1 where it's just start,
You
go.
start, there's like very little wasted dialogue for NPCs. They'll either say like, "Oh, restore the crystals," or they'll actually have like information for you. And that's something that I also liked.
I agree. Like, it's really interesting to go back to FF1, specifically the PSP port, which I think it's fair to say we both recommend it if you can get it for cheap or just emulate it.
Yeah. I'd say it's pretty worth playing.
It's very interesting to go back to it, where this is a game that, well, it's pretty short. It took me like 12 hours, 12, 13
Yeah, looking at my
to do the
footage,
PSP.
only took me 6 days and an average of 5 hours. Some of them were
Yeah, like, not including some of the days where it's like straight up the internet just said, "Nah,
actually
fam."
no, it wasn't average of 5 hours. It was more like an average of 3 hours. So yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah, it's like it's an under 15-hour game once you get the hang of it. But like outside of that, I was very impressed with it.
Yeah.
Where it cuts the point in a way a lot of JRPGs unfortunately just do not.
Yeah, like there's I was expecting like a lot of long-winded dialogue for, world building and stuff like that, but no, they say, "Oh, I hear there's a rumor that this is happening in this area, go check it out." And that's what everybody says. Like, everybody just gives you a clue to send you right to your next objective. And that's very nice.
Exactly. It's a very brisk pace where, and the thing is, like, this game actually covers a fair bit of territory too, which is very fun. Like, you start off, you're gonna go fight this weird goblin thing.
Yeah, this dude, he kidnapped the princess, go stop him, and then like the world gets bigger a little bit. You get a boat, you get to go to another continent, and then you get an airship, and then the whole world is open. Like, it's very nice.
It's very well paced. I think it's impressive. Like, keep in mind, like, even with the PSP version, this is still like a 1990 structure of a game.
This is
like, what was its competition?
when did this game come out? Final Fantasy 1.
1990.
1990. I'll believe it. Let me see. 1987.
87. Okay, so it's competing with Zelda, which is like 86 then.
Yeah, so like this game, really? Wow, yeah, 87. Huh.
Okay, well, I'm very impressed on that basis alone.
Because like,
then.
yeah, this is a very well-written story for such an old game.
Yeah, like, obviously, like, we have to adjust in, like, expectations for the era it's in when it's competing with, like, Mario Brothers, your princess is in another castle.
Yeah.
But still, like, when you compare it to that, and it says, again, one of the things that's fascinating, not fascinating, but Wisconsin's coming out, don't worry. But one of the things that's very fascinating about it is you can kind of see the seeds of what would be later Final Fantasies being sown here, specifically with the Garland plotline, where it is a time travel paradox that creates the problem.
Oh, does that come up in other games?
There's time stuff in other games, FF8 especially has a lot of time stuff, but I was thinking Chrono Trigger.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I wasn't even thinking about that.
You can see the seeds of a lot of Square Enix getting sown here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like the parallels, especially between like, traveling around, you can only access certain time periods, but, as you get further, more of the world opens up to you, more of the timelines open up, and eventually you get your own airship in that one too.
Yeah, it's very Chrono Trigger, actually. I was very impressed with, like, this is the structure. This is the seeds of that game getting sown.
I wonder what other. I mean, obviously, it seems like most of their games have been influenced by this very first project.
I mean, obviously, like you have the sci-fi and the fantasy stuff, which became a huge thing in basically all the games up to the and ever since. Like, I don't think there's ever a pure sci-fi FF, but or a pure fantasy for that matter.
Yeah, yeah.
They all have a mixture of it. As like FF1's the beginning, where it's like you have the steampunk kind of airship, you have like old fantasy nobility and stuff,
And the ancient people who live in the sky. They've got machines that they can send down to Earth.
you have robots.
There's literally robots in here.
Yeah, it's like this is the first game that was doing this kind of shit.
Because like back then, I can't think of any like fantasy game that would include sci-fi elements.
I can hardly think of fantasy fiction that did. Like,
Yeah.
the closest I can think of is, this is going to be a weird poll, and it comes out like almost a decade later. It's a first-person shooter called Strife from
Strife.
96.
Okay.
Strife was FPS made on the Doom engine, where it's very story-heavy, actually. It's kind of like people consider it a precursor to Deus Ex,
Okay.
where it's sort of like a nuclear apocalypse world, where everything is kind of reduced to this feudal medieval stuff. Like everyone's walking around like swords and armor and crossbows and stuff, but the elite have like advanced technology and shit.
I see.
Because they're the ones who know how to make it work.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking up the Wikipedia page for this. So it's kind of like this actually. Like I see they've got weapons like crossbows, but also guns. So it's a sci-fi.
Yeah, like have assault
fantasy
rifles
mix.
and shit.
And this game came out in '96.
Yeah, so it's like this is still way after the fact. I can't remember anything really before FF1 that was really doing the idea of the sci-fi fantasy mixture.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, I don't think there were a lot of sci-fi RPG games around that time.
There really weren't. Like, I guess you could argue like tabletop stuff,
Yeah.
like Cyberpunk, but like that's really stretching it.
But in terms of video games, I
'Cause,
don't
like,
think there was any.
Yeah, like video games, there's nothing. And even in Cyberpunk, like, the thing about Cyberpunk is that was still a new genre in 87.
Yeah.
Because, like, Blade Runner didn't come out till 83, and Neuromancer wasn't until 84. So, like, it wasn't even a thing yet. No, like, looking back, it's actually kind of interesting how FF1 really set the standard for everything.
Yeah, it's like what was it? They took a real risk including that stuff, and it's reflected in the title, right? Final Fantasy. They expected it to be like their last big project.
Well, yeah, like, if I remember correctly, this is all off of memory, unfortunately. I did not take professional notes for this. I am kind of a shitlord, but one of the things I remember about the development of this game is essentially Squaresoft at the time was getting ready to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, you have budget. God, I can speak English properly, I promise. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. But if I remember correctly, like, they had the budget for one final game. And the higher up said, okay, look, we're going to shut everything down. You're all going to be fired anyway. Work on it. Whatever. Do whatever the hell you want. And as I believe Hironobu Sakaguchi is the name of the guy who started to push it really hard. He said, okay, this is our last chance at making it in the game industry. This is our Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I see here only 3 of his colleagues volunteered to join his project.
Holy shit, really?
That's what it says on his Wikipedia page.
God damn.
And the where was it? The music was composed by Nobuo Uematsu, yeah, and it marked his 16th video game composition.
Is it Uematsu or Uematsu?
I think it's Uematsu.
Okay, Uematsu. First of all, I'm impressed by the fact that he was even able to make music.
Yeah, and plus
Like,
made these iconic tracks.
like, here's the thing. Everyone knows the actual FF theme at the menu. Everyone
Yeah.
knows that. That's pure iconography. And it's like, okay, yeah, everyone will point to Koji Kondo, the guy who makes all the Mario and Zelda music, for look at this iconic soundtrack. But really think of NES music. It sounds like dog.
There's some good ones. Tim Follin made some good tracks, but
Oh no, I'm not saying there isn't good ones.
most of
I
it's,
forget the name of the
absolute
composer.
shit.
Like the guy who made music for Castlevania 1, 2, and 3. Whoever did that. Like,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
some
yeah.
good shit.
That's some good shit.
But it's just very impressive to think of, like, this guy who essentially had no skin in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if he's a composer, he'd probably go work for any game company at the time, and it would be fine.
Yeah, here it says he created music for a number of games that did not achieve widespread success until Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be his last
still,
contribution to Square.
Yeah, shit, like, he could just moved on. But no, he made it work. And, like, you have Matoya's theme, which, like, it's not iconic, but it's pretty good. Even the NES version.
Yeah.
The battle theme, which, again, like, it's not as good as other battle themes. Solid, even the NES 8-bit version.
And, of course, the level up jingle, which continues into every single game, right?
Every single game has this. It has some version of the title theme, has some version of the level up jingle.
Damn.
And then you had, like, the lineage of the concept of the MacGuffins. Like,
The crystals,
how
yeah.
many RPGs in existence have get the 4 things or the 7 things?
Was that started by this? It must have been. I don't know if there was.
Wait, I can't
think of
Did Dragon Warrior do it first?
Dragon Warrior. Okay.
I don't know. Like, it might
Check
have.
that
I
out.
have not played Dragon Warrior. I can't say.
I haven't played a lot of games on NES.
No, I've played side scrollers on NES because that's the shit right there. But
I don't know if Dragon Quest did Dragon Warrior.
fucking Dragon Quest, of course. Like, yeah, Dragon Warrior is the American name. I'm a filthy
It
Westerner.
did come out a couple years before, but I don't know if it did. Okay, play hero
I don't
who's
think
to
it did.
save the land of peril. Yeah, you don't even have to collect anything.
So yeah, FF1 might have been the first game to do the MacGuffin side quest line.
Oh yeah, makes sense. And because of that, every other game had to do it.
Like, yeah, and like Paper Mario, the new one came out. Basically, every Paper Mario game has some variant of collect the 5 to 8 things.
Oh yeah, there's the 7 star spirits, the 7 crystal stars, the 8 pure hearts.
Yeah, exactly. And I have not played any of the ones after Super, so I can't say.
Yeah, I don't know the other ones.
I don't give a rat's ass about anything after Super Paper Mario. But yeah, like, again, you have a lot of lineage. Even Nocturne, the Candelabras.
Well, I mean, that wasn't in the original, but of course, the Candelabra side quest.
It's still the
in
Western
there, yeah.
version. Yeah, I'm a filthy Westerner, so I'm only going by what I know. I am American filth, even though I don't live in America.
North American filth.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's the Canada, like, we're the 51st state, so it's fine. I'm American filth.
One day, the 51st state.
We're North Montana. So yeah, it's very interesting. Like, that's the entire concept of the class system.
Oh yeah.
With mages, warriors, monks. Like,
That's
obviously
all co-opted from Dungeons and Dragons, but still, like.
Yeah, like Dungeons and Dragons was the forebearer, but this is the first thing that took the concept of Dungeons and Dragons and really gave it like an electronic life.
Took that stuff to video games. From the tabletop to TV screen.
Yeah, like, if nothing else, like, the takeaway for looking at FF1 is that this game is absolutely fascinating to look at as a relic, just for the purpose of what it led
Yeah,
to.
what came from this? It
Like, on its own.
it truly is like the beginning, like the tree to which everything like branched off of.
No, exactly. Like, it's very... And the thing is, like, obviously, FF1 for the NES, there's clunk, but once you kind of get it, it's a little easier. PS1 can go to hell, but PSP, I don't like the PS1 port. I really don't like it.
Are you ever gonna release the Did you ever record the footage?
I recorded up until I quit.
Okay, you ever gonna release that footage?
I'm putting the footage into this. I
Perfect,
want people to see
perfect.
my failure. My empire of dirt.
I'm glad that I didn't get to play it, but I'm also kind of disappointed I didn't get to.
It's so disappointing. Like, the second... Oh, here's the thing. Like, when I was doing the FF1 PS1 port, I go to the dungeon where Garland is first. I immediately get mogged. Immediately stomped.
Immediately stopped.
So it's like, okay, I'll just grind till I'm level 5. Okay, you want to know the worst thing about FF1 on the FF Origins? The EXP scaling.
Oh,
Holy
okay.
shit. It takes forever to level in that game.
Oh man, really? Because I remember I was gaining levels
like-
left and right.
The second I started FF1 on PSP for the the emulation on that, because these are emulated playthroughs we're doing, just full disclosure. But the second I start that, and it's like, oh, I gained a level just by walking to the castle. I
Just in the first like 3 seconds.
I haven't even gotten to the castle, and I already had 2 levels. Like, are you serious? In FF1 PS1, I had to like just spend 2 hours. Like, oh man, let's get the actual count here. I have the footage on the actual videos. Let's see. FF1, how long did I spend to get to level 5? 1 minute there.
Sorry for insisting that we play PS1 version.
I spent 1 hour and 51 minutes trying to get to level 5.
1 hour, almost 2 hours.
Just under 2 hours to get to level 5. In the PS1 version, I was done that the second I did a clear run of the castle. It was crazy.
Jesus.
Like, the PSP version, it's the best version, just because, like, at the very least, it's convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient, it's familiar, especially if you've been playing RPGs in like since early 2000s. But I mean, the original or the PS1 version, it is more similar to the original, but like I don't know, it's too clunky. The spells still don't work. Like even the spells that do work, like, you know, half of them are broken. They still don't work.
Yeah, so it's like you're getting the bugged, horrible versions of like the really janky FF1 port. You're getting that, but you're also getting the inflated health pool of everything after.
Yeah, it's the worst version. You'd rather just play the
Like,
original at that point.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna play the original, at the very least, like it's a little easier, and I have the nostalgia value of, oh, I'm playing the NES one. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, to my knowledge, like the Game Boy Advance version is apparently even worse, where it's like Chaos has like 50,000 health,
Jesus.
and he can still do the full heal.
Jesus Christ.
That's just merciless, man.
Thank God we didn't play that one.
Yeah, like, we're not doing the Game Boy versions. The FF5 one, we're either... For, like, FF5, we're probably just going to emulate it, or, like, I say worst case scenario, if emulation fails, just get Steam
The
version.
Steam... Isn't that just the port of the mobile version?
Yes. Like, I'm saying if emulation fails...
If there's no other way, gotta play the mobile
then
port.
we have to do the Steam version, because we are not doing the Game Boy Advance versions of these games.
Oh, man.
So the thing is, though, what's kind of interesting, not interesting. I think what's kind of weird to talk about with FF1 is there's not that much to talk about because like
It's such
like
a short
center
game,
pillar.
and it's,
Yeah,
everything is just given to you. Like your next hint, your next clue, it just leads right to the next thing. So there's not really much to
which
talk about.
admittedly for an NES game, like that's where it's still like the bones of an NES
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
I'm kind of impressed it didn't need an esoteric walkthrough.
Yeah,
Like
like
Zelda 1 was bad for that.
Zelda 2 was really bad.
Yeah, like Zelda 1 and 2, Castlevania 2. Like, this is such a meme for how frustrating a lot of old NES games are. And FF1, unless there's some major changes we're not aware of for the translation,
Yeah.
is very straightforward.
It's just they give you, oh, hey, Garland kidnapped the princess, or hey, a vampire cursed our prince. Like, it just goes to the next thing. Or, oh, excuse me, it was the dark elf that cursed the prince.
Yeah, it's like Dark Elf boy, and it's like, nah, you gave me the crown. I am actually the Dark Elf. Nah, and you like
Dude
stomp
looks
him
like
in
a
one
damn
turn.
gremlin.
Looks like a fucking gremlin. You stomp him in one turn. Eat after midnight now, bitch.
But
still, like, it's very straightforward of a game, and I would kind of like that.
I noticed, like, there's only 10 major bosses, and 4 of them are refights. Like, you fight the 4 fiends again in Garland's cast. Like, there's Garland, there's the 4 fiends, and then there's the 4 fiends again, and then there's Chaos. Like, those are the major bosses. I mean, sure, there's the Dark
like
Elf and
not
the
including
Vampire,
the
but...
optional bosses like Cerberus.
Yeah, oh, well, those are the Game Boy dungeon
Those are the
add-ons.
new ones.
I might
Yeah,
go
like
back
not
and,
including the new ones.
might go back and do that content some other time, but
Dude,
not
fuck
for a while.
Cerberus.
Not for a while. But yeah, there's
Even on PSP, I went to Cerberus blind and I got wiped.
yeah. I don't know if you saw my stream, but I did that too, and I got absolutely destroyed.
I watched it. I did watch stream before when you gave me the footage, just kind of like get familiarity. I was like, holy shit! I'm so glad I'm vindicated
I
here.
got fucking stomped. I didn't stand a damn chance. I mean, at least they just kick you out.
My
They don't
God.
give you a game over.
Yeah, because they knew. They knew.
They knew you were gonna come in there like right away and get stomped. But even with only only 10 bosses, like there's not a whole lot of strategy involved, right? Like it's just
It's
you temper,
spellcast.
you haste, and then you just hit the guy till he dies.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you temper, you make sure make sure your monk's unequipped.
Oh yeah. You make sure he has no nunchucks.
Yeah, take off any equipment the monk can have, temper, haste him, haste the white mage or the red mage, whatever is doing your healing. Go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's the same with regular combat too. There's no real strategy. You just hit the thing till it dies. Kind of a
Which I
kind of a bummer, but I mean, you can't really do complex
you could
strategy in these
argue
games.
like a lot of JRPGs kind of boil down to
Yeah.
that. Like, I guess obviously it's kind of a meme among the group, but even Chrono Trigger, which is one of the
Just
better
mash
ones,
attack
can
till you win.
evolve. Okay, quick question. Do you want to do FF adjacent games?
I mean, okay. Chrono Trigger is I don't consider it a spin-off, but I know what is it? Secret of Mana is actually it's a sequel to
FF Origins.
Final Fantasy Legends.
Sorry, FF Adventure.
Or is it Adventure? I thought it was Legends, excuse me.
Yeah, it's like Final Fantasy Adventure for the that Game Boy,
the
I
Game
believe.
Boy. I was
Yeah,
considering
so
doing
there's
them
Secret
as
of Mana.
spin-offs after we were done with the main line.
Now, I have a question for you, because here's the thing. Chrono Trigger is technically one of... Here's the thing. Obviously, I'm rusty because I haven't looked at the history of it. It was debated to be an FF7 at one point.
Yeah. I've heard the theories. It's the same with Parasite Eve too, right?
Parasite Eve and Xenogears.
Xenogears too, all three. Wow, yeah, I mean, I'm down for that. But then we'd have to play Chrono Cross.
The only. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so we play Chrono Cross. That also means we have to play Parasite Eve 2 and the Third Birthday. And for Xeno, if we want to get into that, that would technically mean we have to play Xenosaga, Xenosaga 2, Xenosaga 3, Xenoblade, Xenoblade
Chronicles.
X, Xenoblade 2.
I'm down. I mean, I like video games.
I think if we do like Parasite, I think like we could probably do Chrono Trigger. But
I've never actually finished Chrono Trigger, so that would be a good one for me.
Well, here's the thing, Trigger's short, so actually I want to squeeze Trigger after 6 and before 7. That actually might be fun.
Yeah, I'd be down. I mean,
yeah.
It'll work.
Yeah, like, as long as, like, it was Xeno, we don't touch it at all. Because, holy shit, that's a rabbit hole.
That might be, we have to wait until the end, until we're done with Final Fantasy.
Xeno is like, hey, we're not gonna do the FF marathon, we're doing the Xenosaga marathon. Now. We're doing the whole thing. Because, like, one of those games is, like, over 100 hours on its own. Like, it's crazy.
I'm pretty sure, like, most of them are, above 80 hours. Just a little much.
I think it's, like, Xenosaga 2, I think, is, like, even on the fastest completions, like, it's gonna take you, like, 90 hours to beat.
Good lord.
It's, like, Xenosaga is fucked. And a lot of that is, like, Metal Gear cutscenes.
Oh, nice. It's just like 40-minute cutscenes.
It's like fucking Persona tier.
Oh my
and
god.
Metal Gear tier.
Oh god.
It's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. It's like, it apparently doesn't even have the good writing that Persona occasionally does, so it's like, we're in for some shit.
The good writing that Persona used to have.
Occasionally has.
I don't know, I played 5, it was pretty bad.
It kinda had it in 4, kinda, sometimes.
Maybe I'll have to play 4, because 4 was the beginning of the end. Like, 3 was the beginning of the end. 3 was like, what was it, Resident Evil 4?
3 is the last good one.
Like, Resident Evil 4 was the first of the action-style Resident Evil games, and it was the beginning of
honestly,
the
that's
end.
a good comparison. That's a good comparison, because, like, RE4 is awesome. I love RE4.
It's a great game,
but
it caused the downfall of the rest of the series.
Every bad Resident Evil game has started from the mentality of, let's make Resident Evil 4 again.
And yeah, that's exactly what it is with Persona 3, because they changed the formula with 3, and it was still good, but then everything else just fell apart because it wanted to be Persona 3
That's
again.
like, even 5 is like, hey, you remember Persona 3? Again, baby.
You wanna go back to school? Here you go. Fuck, man.
Okay. Obviously, like, these are going to be a little more informal with our kind of, like, quote-unquote reviews. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about Persona a little bit now. If they do a Persona 6, because they're going to do a Persona 6.
Oh, definitely. I think they've already said that they're in development for it.
Would you like them to not have it in high school? Because that's one of the things I would be fascinated to see.
I would like them to break away from the calendar system that they started in 3, because the first 2 games didn't have it. Or I'd say the first 2 games, but I really mean the first 3 games, because 2 is split.
Like Persona 2, like Innocent Sin and such.
Yeah, they didn't have the calendar system there. It was just straight up, here's your adventure, you go through these dungeons. It's fine, you don't have to like wait around for days for the next story progression. It's very nice. And then in 3 they started that.
No, agreed.
With, you go to school, you live your daily life, but like at night, you and your friends go and kill shadows and stuff like that. And I would like for them to just stop doing that. Like, shake up the formula a little bit. Persona 3 came out in 2006. Like, it's time to change it up.
No, fair enough. Now, I was thinking, like, setting-wise, okay, so they're gonna keep, like, as much as I'm kind of a fan of it, the whole social links concept.
Oh yeah, of course. They can't get rid of it. It's their big draw. Everybody loves the social links.
Now, they did put out the re-release of it, but do you think if they kind of took it in a direction closer to the writing and the presentation of Catherine for the social link shit?
Oh yeah, I think that would.
Catherine to me was like, okay, we're just getting to the maybe it's just because like I'm a little older than the target demographic of Persona, but I found Catherine a little more interesting for the social stuff and the characters than a lot of Persona. Like, I've only played 4, just for the, obviously, just to put that big disclaimer up there. And I like 4, I think it's pretty good, but
yeah, for
it's
social
just
links for Catherine style, that would be great, actually, because the writing in Catherine was really good.
Yeah.
From what I remember. I played that game in, what was it, 2016? It's been a while.
Yeah, like, still, like, pretty recently, all things considered.
But it was really good. I liked that one a lot. And
And I think I was a little disappointed for Persona 5 just for what I heard of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, they kind of went away from that style where it's like, okay, we're going to be tackling subjects a little more nuanced than extreme nihilism in 3 and then, like, everything 4 is about, which is kind of its own can of worms who kind of like we don't want to get to today.
Yeah, it was, they wanted to cover, like, mature themes, and they started in the first dungeon. That's why I always say, like, the first part of 5 is the best part. It's, like, a 10 out of 10. Everything's great. And then as soon as you beat the first boss, like, the whole game falls apart because instead of being, you know, about handling mature themes in a mature way, all of the characters just scream that grown-ups are bad. Grown-up bad, corporation bad, politician bad. That's
Wouldn't it be interesting if you had to become the grown-up throughout Persona 5 like you were in high school?
Actually, in the remake, there's a bonus dungeon at the end where the villain gets the same powers that you guys have, and he rewrites reality to be a utopia for everyone. Like, he fixes all the problems, and you have to stop him because everybody's like, no, this isn't reality. Like, this isn't the right way to live. Like, we have to face our problems. And it's like, bitch, you've been doing this the whole game. Like, you've been destroying people's, well, I say destroying people's lives, but they were doing the right thing. Like, you know, they were stopping criminals.
Well, obviously.
But, like, you've been using this power for your own gain, like, the whole game, and then this guy does it to fix everybody's lives, and you're trying to stop him?
Does it do anything with it?
I haven't actually played it. I've just seen the cutscenes.
Oh,
My friend has played it, and I'm thinking maybe one day I'll go over and we'll play it together. But he complained about it too. He told me about that. He was like, it didn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, huh. That's a big think right there.
Well, see, because that's an interesting concept. Yeah. It's sort of the idea of, I believe, I forget who said this, but there's a quote about a perfect system, which is, if you truly believe in the system of governance and order that you've created and you enforce, you would give it to your mortal enemy. Because, like, if you give it to your mortal enemy, if it is a truly just system, they cannot actually abuse it for their own gain.
Yeah.
And this seems like it's doing that, where the actual main villain has it, and they're freaking out. And it's like, okay, you're freaking out about a party members, Joker and all the rest of your boys. I've never played 5, so can't say, but all the Smash Brothers characters. But I'm gonna get flayed for that.
All 90 of them?
Yeah, all 90 of them. Mario and, I don't know, like, Sanix, all of them hanging out. He's still in it, right?
I think so. Yeah, well, everybody's in the next one, or everybody's in this current one, so literally every character that's been in Smash is in this one, so. But anyway, yeah, like, they show down with the villain, and he's like, why are you stopping me? I'm just trying to do the right thing. Like, weren't you guys doing this, like, you know, all throughout the year? And unfortunately, they never make any good points. They're like, yeah, but that was different. But they never actually, like, explain themselves.
And the thing is, like, that could work if the whole point of your story is, look how terrifying this core group of protagonists is.
Like, look how terrifying this power is, you know?
Yeah.
But they just say, no, that was different, and then they're like, okay, time to fight. And then it's just kind of over.
Yes, it's that movie Bob thing. You remember? Like, that tweet fucking movie Bob came out where it's like, there's no such thing as bad tactics, only bad targets.
That's insane.
That's horrible
That's
and
insanity.
terrifying. It's like, no bad tactics, you say. Really?
That's terrifying. I can't believe there are people
like,
who think like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Persona 5, the bonus dungeon could have been about
Exactly,
that, but
yeah,
it wasn't.
and then
Because that's such an interesting concept.
it would have been great actually if they'd gone through that route. It's so disappointing they didn't.
Actually, that's what I was saying before we start talking about how the DLC, Royal, the re-release, fucked it up. But one of the things I would have wondered if they were doing the story of, fuck you, old man, I'm 17 and I know how the world works and everything.
Oh yeah.
If that's...
that's like kind of what they were doing in the main game when I played it.
Yeah. Like, if that's what the main game's doing, one of the ideas that I kind of have for that is, okay, what if instead of a calendar system, you have sort of like a general time-lapse system?
Okay.
Like time skip arc shit, where your characters become the older ones. And your characters start to kind of lose that whole fuck you old man mentality because they have to work. They gotta make ends meet. Being a phantom thief doesn't pay the bills.
Mm-hmm. Actually, that would be really cool.
As like suddenly they're gonna start to learn a nuance, and that at the end of the day they're gonna have to be a cog in a machine if there's going to be a society in the first place.
Yeah, like.
And then maybe they see younger groups just like them, and they become the antagonists.
That would be very interesting. They realize that they
I don't know,
can't
like,
keep rebelling against society. They have to join in at some point.
It's like if you live in it, you are living within a social contract, kind of that Hobbesian thing. So it's like if you consent to agreeing to that contract, okay, great. You can't just say "fuck you, man." I'm gonna do whatever the hell I feel like.
Yeah, now you have
you have to work within it if you want to change it. Yeah, it's like you have your responsibilities, and it's like if you want to change it, okay, yeah, I'll work within it. Otherwise, get out.
That would be very interesting. Yeah, and then like some high school kids come in, they have the same power. They start asking questions.
Yeah, they have personas. They say "fuck you, old man." I know how the world works.
And you get to see like, oh shit, that was me. That was me back then. How have I... And then that reflects on the player. They say like, oh shit, yeah, that was me when I was a kid. How have I changed since then?
And wouldn't that be interesting for the target demographic for Persona, which are like late teenagers?
Late teenagers and like people our age, even mid-20s.
Yeah, like we're kind of at the later edge of it in our mid-20s, so we're kind of at the edge of it, but...
Mid-20s. I'm not that old.
We're not that old, but according to Japan, yes, we are.
It hurts saying mid-20s.
It's fine.
Feels fucking bad.
Look, one day, like, give it a few years here, like, we're gonna be 30-year-old boomers, and we're talking about FF16.
Oh my god.
Right, we're gonna talk about FF16 when we're in our 30s, and we're gonna be cracking monsters. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for that.
Good lord.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah, like, this has gone on a bizarre tangent.
It has.
About things
We're
that are
talking
not
about a
Final
different
Fantasy
RPG.
Okay, so that's a fresh warning. FF casts are gonna be off topic sometimes.
Talking about the wrong
But
game.
yeah,
Maybe we should just do Persona
I think it's
instead.
well, I don't want to play Persona 5. Everything I've heard about it sounds miserable.
Yeah, it's 100 hours and there's a lot of padding. It's pretty bad.
Oh no. But yeah, like for FF1, I think that kind of just goes to show, like, with FF1, a lot of its core tenets just bled into every other JRPG, even Western RPG for that matter.
It had a huge amount of influence.
So it's more natural to like bleed into other topics because it's just so influential for basically everything on the market that wears the RPG banner.
Yeah. That's kind of why I didn't want to start going to do FF2 until after we did this. Like, I don't want my opinion of the other games in the series to influence what I thought of the games I already played. I gotta pace myself through it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fascinated to start FF2.
Everything I've heard about it sounds amazing. It's going to be quite the experience.
See, that's the thing, because like FF2 I've heard is like nothing. One, I've heard nothing but bad things, and I've heard it's extremely different. And if that's the case, okay, that's pretty fine. But that's interesting to see, like, okay, you had a winning formula that just sort of set the world on fire and saved your company. Why would you change it so much?
And that's going back to what I said about Persona. Like, they made this game, they made Final Fantasy 1, and they had the perfect formula, and they decided to change it. Well, actually, did they have the perfect formula back in the NES? I mean, it won, right? Like, it saved their company, but
yeah,
I mean, they changed it to whatever Final Fantasy 2 is, the stat-based system, and
I still have no idea.
they took that risk to change it immediately, and now we see, like, the stagnation of the games industry now, where they just do remasters and remakes instead of actually making something new.
And like Final Fantasy as a franchise, what does it do now? It's, as much as I hate to say it, it's attempting to emulate Kingdom Hearts.
Was that the remake? FF7 remake?
FF15.
Oh, okay.
15 is gonna be a bad one, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Ooh, can't wait. I can't wait.
It's a bad time.
You know I've played bad games on stream. You know I enjoy a truly awful game.
You enjoy awful, but do you enjoy hold one button to win?
Well, at least it'll be easy. At least it won't be like hang out in the mind dungeon for 40 minutes.
Oh no. You know, you've cursed me. I hope you know that. You have placed this malediction on me of Yick, and I will never leave it.
Dude, I don't understand, but it's seeped into my mind like a poison. I can't get away from it.
Like, I have 24 something hours in a Yick. I got every ending.
24?
I've seen the light.
I have 65 hours in that game. Two and a half playthroughs.
I've seen the light. You've shown me.
Some truly awful shit games. It's not even that I hate it anymore. It's like some kind of begrudging respect. Oh my god. Okay. But okay, like even Yick, I'm sure has had influences from Final Fantasy.
Even Yick has influence from Final Fantasy. The party system, the menus.
Well, actually, it's more of a Chrono Trigger. I mean, you played the game. Chrono Trigger and Lufia too.
God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. Dude, Eris is in the game.
Yeah, of course, that's right. How could I forget?
Why is she in the game?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Why is she in the game?
I forgot about that. Holy shit.
Why is she there?
Oh my god. Even Yick has been influenced by the Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, like FF1, the way it presents the party in the menu is in Yick.
Yes, that's true. The fucking sprites, yeah, they're the same.
It's FF1.
Literally the same.
The way the overworld is presented is FF1.
Yup.
FF1 has influenced so many games, it's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ, the tree branches.
It goes to Yick in 2019. 22 years.
It's truly incredible.
My God.
This Final Fantasy.
So, usually, like, I think the story would be most of our discussion for these games.
But this one doesn't
since
have
FF1
one.
doesn't really have any. Like, the only thing that I think is worth talking about is I am really confused about Garland's explanation of the time loop.
I definitely don't remember most of what he said.
It's baffling to me. Where it's like, okay.
So he like went back in time to get ultimate power, and then he went back to the present, kidnapped the king's daughter, the princess, and then he died, and then the fiends like revived him back in the past when he got the power. Is that what it was?
I think.
I'm gonna go back and just review my footage really quick. I have the final vid. Let me just scroll to his speech. I will be reborn here again. Yeah. Hold on.
It's like, okay, so let's say that's the case. Why don't you kill Garland when you erase this timeline and you go back to the regular one?
I assumed that's just what they did, honestly. Okay, so he came to the temple back in time. He resurrected the fiends, sent them out, and then he went back to the present. And then when he died, they revived him back in the past so he could do it again. I don't really understand where the fiends come in.
Yeah, like that to me is the most confusing thing, where it's like, okay, how are the fiends present in both? First of all, how are they present in both timelines?
Exactly. Like, how did they revive him?
And second of all, like, how did they revive him if in the past if he died in the future, and in the past, like 2,000 years ago, he wasn't born?
And like, so I assume that they revive him at around the same time that he created or revived them in the Temple of the Past. So I'm assuming like they use magic to like draw his soul back to the past or some shit and construct a body for him. I don't know, but that makes sense to me. Kinda. Except how would they like revive him if he already sent them back to the present?
I respect the ambition. I really do. It's just that this is insane.
It's very confusing. I mean, it works. Like,
yeah,
I don't need to think too hard about it. The problems only come in when I start thinking about it.
If I treat it like, I think that's actually the way to look at this game's story, all things considered, is, okay, I'm going to look at this as a D&D campaign, and the Dungeon Master is trying to make a time travel story, and it's kind of hard.
It's hard.
It's
kind of consider all the angles, but, it still works. You don't want to call your friend out for writing a shitty story, so you just go along with it.
Yeah, it's like you know for a fact that this guy is just kind of making it up as he goes along. He just wanted to hang out with the boys and shoot the shit. That's kind of how I feel about the FF1 story.
That's probably the best way to look at it. Don't take it too seriously. It's there, but it's more of like an excuse to get you on this adventure.
And apparently it is not until FF2 that we see an actual story become focus in Final Fantasy.
Okay. So this one was more...
FF2 is apparently very story heavy.
So this one was more about the adventure, more about the journey. And now we're going into like the real story heavy, the real ambitious stories of Square Enix.
Yeah, apparently this is the big one, so I'm interested in it. I know next to nothing outside of it's bad and it's story heavy.
All I know about it is that your stats go up as they're used. So if you want more HP, you gotta get hurt. If you want more defense, you gotta get hit. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, so I guess like unless you have any final thoughts, like that's kind of FF1.
Let me see what else I got.
Yeah, like, pull out the notebook here.
Okay. There are only 10 bosses. Yep. No wasted dialogue. Yep. The one thing that always pissed me off every fight is the turn order. I never figured out how the turn order works. It felt like my whole team was moving randomly every time.
Is there a speed
There
stat?
is.
I didn't see it when the
There's
level
a
ups.
speed stat and there's an equipment weight stat. I don't know how they influence your turn order, but it seems like the enemy goes and then like, well, you know how some or most RPGs, it's like your turn and then the enemy's turn, but it's like sometimes you go first and then sometimes the enemy goes first.
Yeah.
I was assuming, I was operating under the assumption that it worked like Darkest Dungeon, where you've got your speed stat and it adds a value between like 0 and, you know, some other number, and that's how it calculates your speed every turn. Which worked for me, made sense, but it kind of made battles like really hard to consider a strategy, right? Because it's like you don't know if your monk's going to attack first or if you can get the buff off, right? You don't know if he's going to die immediately before you can heal him.
Well, that's actually the big concern I had, where it's like, okay, is my black mage gonna have enough for just fire 3 or fire Aga? Or is like the white mage gonna go first and heal him, or is he gonna go first and the enemy will attack, and of course they're gonna attack my black mage and he's gonna get wrecked?
Yeah, it's like there's no easy way to see who's going to go next. And I don't really understand that. I don't know if I mean, obviously it must have been intentional, but like I don't know what they were thinking about it.
I think this to me screams like lack of resources.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. They
they had to get this out as fast as they could.
it's like 4 people working on it, 4 volunteers.
Yeah, like this had a skeleton crew working on the original game. So if nothing else, I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like I got nothing else other to say about that.
Yeah, like I was very impressed with it going back, specifically the PSP version. I was very impressed at how kind of just it's simple, it's easy, but I had a lot of fun with it. I was very impressed.
It was a lot more fun than I expected it to be.
And looking at all the ways it kind of branches out into bigger and better things like later FFs, Chrono Trigger, and even RPGs coming out today.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like how this game influences others in the Final Fantasy series.
Oh, dude, like I'm so excited for some of the later ones to get to.
I've heard a lot of good things about 7, 9, 10. So those ones are ones I'm looking forward to.
7's the one we're probably going to have the most disagreements about because I'm nostalgia blind, but I'll admit that up front.
I'm pretty well known for having absolute shit takes, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so... actually, FF10, since we're talking about turn-based RPGs in order, since this is before Active Time Battle...
Okay.
FF10, I think you might like for a single feature. It has in its RPG, its turn-based system. It has the order.
Oh, right,
in the top right.
Corner. I linked a video in the Final Fantasy channel where
recipes.
Oh, is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
No, it's not. It's right here.
Oh, it's there?
It's on my screen.
Oh, fuck
But,
it is.
I linked a video. It was a long time ago. I'm not going to scroll up to find it, but it was some battle in FF10. Some guy was doing like a challenge run, and I noticed right on the side, like it's got like your character's portraits in order, and that's really cool. I've seen that in the Digimon games of all things. Of all things, I saw that there, and I was like, that's really cool. I wish more games did that.
So yeah, like if nothing else, like FF10 is gonna be interesting because it's the first one since I think FF1 that goes raw turn-based instead of active time. And I think it has one of the best turn. Again, this is all from memory. I haven't played FF10 since I was like
a young lad,
12, 13 years old. So it's been a while, but like from what I remember, like I thought it had a really cool turn-based RPG system.
Okay.
So I was very impressed with it.
Yeah, because a lot of people I heard talk praise about it are all people who played it around the same age. So I'm wondering if it's, they played it as a kid and they really like it, they've never gone back to it, or if it's genuinely good, right?
Yeah, I hope that's not the case, because like,
You're
I
one
don't
of
think
those
it's the
people.
best. Like, even at the time, like I thought it's like, this is fine, but it's not lighting my world on fire.
Okay.
But I hope it's not a case where it's like I'm wrong, because I want it to be fun.
Well, of course. I mean, you always want the game to be fun.
So yeah, like I got nothing else to say on FF1. You got any?
I think we've covered all of my topics. Yeah, music was great. Graphics are great. Gameplay's great. It's a good game. Everyone go check it out.
Yeah, it's like you can emulate it for nothing on basically peanut computers right now, so it's pretty easy
Yeah,
to play.
any crap top can play an NES, or not an NES, but a PSP emulator. So it's available for pretty much anyone. Even hacking a PSP to play it is also super easy. But other than that, I got nothing left to say. We can put this to rest.
Hell yeah. Alright, thank you one and all for watching. Hopefully we're not too long till we get to FF2.
I'm planning on starting it tomorrow, so hopefully we can get through it in like 2 weeks and then get on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, take it easy, everyone. We're going to be wishing you a good evening. Thank you for listening, and until next time.
See y'all later.